Hi, my name is Jean, and welcome to my channel on how to launch your first online training business. In today's video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step overview of Descript as your all-in-one video editing, content creation, and social media creation tool. So what I love and what I want to do with this video is just walk you through Descript because there's been a lot of changes since they have first come out. And for all of you who are new to content creation and hearing all about the AI features that are built into software, I figured it would be a good time to walk you through Descript and these new changes and how you can incorporate the AI features from their Underlord assistant into your video editing, into your content creation process, and build things and create content faster. So I hope you enjoy this video and let me know if you have comments, questions, or feedback, and let's get started. So let's get started with this tutorial. So the first thing you'll notice is that I've already started, So let's start with a new project that I've set up for the purpose of this demo. So as you can see, this is a new blank project. I am assuming for this project that we are recording individual video lessons for an online course, online training, and the same process can be used and applied if you're repurposing this content to social media. But first of all, let's just go through how this all works. If you are starting on a if you're starting on a new project, what you can do is brainstorm your script in individual scenes. So each backslash represents a new scene, and each scene can be thought of as an individual lesson and video in your online training. And so it might be helpful sometimes as you're getting ready to record, or if you're just in the early stages of brainstorming how you're going to script out your online video or online training, to brainstorm and write it out, type it out in this script. Now, as you get comfortable and you're like, okay, I'm ready to record, then what you can do is add a speaker. And this is where I think is really fun. You can take advantage of the AI speakers. You can also take advantage of creating a new speaker, specifically using your own voice that's already recorded and loaded into Descript. And so that's part of what this is going on here. And then you can also go from write. Then you can also, once you're done writing, then you can edit either through this script. So let's just say this isn't the right word. You can highlight it and you can bold it. You can highlight it here. You can highlight this word. You can leave a comment if you're collaborating with someone. And you can also use this into a new project. But the most important is that this really allows you to begin brainstorming how you're going to record your project. Now, when you're ready to edit, this is what your timeline editor looks like here on the bottom. And they will show you your entire project based on the individual scenes. So there are 2 scenes, and so you will see 2 film strips to represent each scene. So this one represents the first scene. So hello world, this is my video on Descript demo and tutorial. And then the second scene, which starts with this is lesson 2. So this helps you visualize where your project is going. Now then, if you want to do more recording, these buttons help you navigate. So this is record. If you want to record more audio or video, this is your record button. And then this is your play button. So this is allowing you to play back your project to see how it sounds, how it all comes together. If you only want to play the individual scene, you can start here at the beginning of the timeline, and then it doesn't have to go all the way to the end. It'll stop at the end of the timeline. And then you can adjust the playback speed. So let's just say you've listened to it a dozen times and you're like, okay, I'm done. I can only listen to it on 1.5 or 1.75. So it gives you a lot of options here. And then this split is really, let's just say you're like, okay, hello world would be good for the first one, but I'm not sure if this is going to be my intro. I'm going to split it here and put this into the next scene. That's what this split does. Now here is where it's key to understand this timeline editor bar. Right now you can see the view is set at 76%. Now if you have a larger window, you can maximize it. But I find it's easier to zoom it to where you can see the individual scenes, because sometimes when your project gets long, then it makes it hard to see everything in one big window. So when you shrink it, then you can see everything in your window, or if you want to make it bigger to focus on one timeline versus the other timeline. This is where your editing toolbar in your timeline editor is really key. You see the arrow button is a select, and then there's also a hand which allows you to move across the timeline. Blade is really to cut, and then the range really allows you to extend. And then slip as well allows you to move and adjust the timing of your project. And so it's helpful to remember that all the editing features, it's helpful to remember that you can choose to edit based on this. You can edit based on the script, and then you can also edit below in the timeline editor. So sometimes it really depends on what you're comfortable with. And then what I think is helpful to know is that when you're working in Descript, you can choose from this option of a timeline view, or you can choose from a storyboard view. So timeline view allows you to see the whole project from start to finish, and then storyboard view is really looking at the individual scenes. So you can see I only have 2 scenes right now for this sample project. Now let's get to know some other aspects of Descript that will help you when you are building your online training and repurposing this content. And so here right now it's set to this aspect ratio of landscape, because these are all demo videos. So the aspect ratio is 16:9. Now, later on, if you're going to repurpose this, what I would recommend is, let's just say you're going to repurpose some of this to social media. You'll select all of it and then click on it and duplicate it to a new composition, so that this will be your main. For example, this will be my main YouTube tutorial, and then I will duplicate it to a new composition to turn it into social media clips. And so once I do that, I can then change it so that if I'm recording TikTok or Instagram Reels or Instagram videos and stories, then I can choose from the aspect ratio of 9:16. And if I'm just doing Instagram posts, then I can just choose the square option. And if there's other dimensions that are not covered, you can go to other and select the ratio that matches your project dimensions. Then, once you get comfortable with that, if you are recording slides and recording lessons, you can think of this also as a template editor. And so you can choose from different template styles. You can also customize the color and the layout. So if you are building a project where you are doing remote recording, you can use the multicam layout. They have chapter title, social icons, which I could use as the end screen template for my videos, and so much more. So they give you a lot of different options to play with just to get you started, because it's easier sometimes to work with a template than to not have a template and starting from scratch. And if you don't like these options, you can go to change layout pack as well. But this is a good starting point and canvas for your project. Now, if you are really into AI, Underlord is a very powerful video editing assistant. Now, I will caution that with Underlord, it is not perfect. AI and machine learning is always changing and always being refined as the algorithm and the program and the mathematics and statistics behind it gets refined to tailor to what people are looking for. However, it might be helpful to give Underlord a try to say, hey, Underlord, I need help with this project. It's a little boring. Can you give me some visuals? Can you give me some visuals for this project? And then Underlord will give you some ideas, and you can choose whether or not you want to take advantage of their suggestions and how you might enhance this video tutorial, or how I might enhance this video tutorial. And so you can see Underlord is thinking and it's brainstorming ideas to help me make this project more engaging, more entertaining, and more educationally effective as well. Now, if the machine doesn't give you what you like and you want to let Descript know, you can thumbs up or thumbs down, and this helps the team understand what you're looking for from Underlord. Once that is done, you can continue to play with Underlord or continue looking at the other AI tools to help you in your project. And I'm going to pause Underlord because this was just a demo and I don't need them to enhance the project because this is a demo video. And I'm just showing you how to take advantage of all the different features that are included in Underlord. So I think one of the fun things is they've added, as you can see, they added a title so that it makes my layout a little bit more creative than it was before. So as you can see, the first one is they gave me a title already and they made the subheading. And then for the second video, they've done the intro slide. So that saves me a little time, and it saves me from having to think of how to make it creative because Underlord has been my creative assistant in this project. Now, if I'm looking to add some music, I can check into the stock library. This is where there's video, there's GIFs, images, stickers. There's so much here, and so check it out. And there's also audio, so you can take advantage of the different music. So maybe my tutorial might be more effective and impactful if I added some fun or maybe lightweight jazz music. I can look for some jazz music, or maybe sound effects if I'm making some kind of TikTok video and I want to amplify a specific message. I can use sound effects to say this was terrible and then use a whoosh impact like this to convey my point. And then captions are what's really fun. If you are doing social media reels and videos, captions are really effective and important because people do not have time to always, and people cannot always turn on their audio, whether they're at work or they're commuting, they're in a car and they're multitasking. Sometimes it's just easier to read captions. And so they give you lots of different caption styles that you can play with and see what works for you. Then here, elements is where you can customize your lesson slides. You can customize your video slides. You can add different types of text, whether it's heading or subtitle, and then different little effects of like square, star, line, and then you can even have placeholders. So let's just say I'm planning to insert a video of me talking here. I can say I'm also going to put a media placeholder in here. And so later on I can go to add media and then add the video that I've already recorded into this slide here. And then there's just so much more that you can add, and annotations and overlays and frames. I'm not going to go through all that, but that's just so you know that there's so much more that you can do with your project. And then properties is where you can really adjust the properties. Gives you the option to adjust this project and the layout of your slide a little bit more. You can apply visual effects, like you can change the font, you can change the color, the text size, you can make it animated, different, which is really, it's your creative oyster. And then layers is really key here. Layers will show you that in this scene, what are all the different elements, because then this helps you see later on in your timeline view what you have stacked on here. So you have this title, intro slide title, you have your media placeholder, and if you want to add more, you can. And then AI tools is what I've talked about earlier. In addition to Underlord, in addition to Underlord as your video assistant, there are a lot of AI tools that are built into Descript. So in your project, let's just say you've already recorded and there's a lot of ums, ahs, and pauses. So for me, then I could remove them all very quickly using remove filler words, remove retakes. I can shorten the word gaps. I could add chapters. I can ask even AI to generate an image. So maybe I want to have some funny image here and I don't have anything myself and I can't find a stock image, then I can ask AI to generate an image. Just as a reminder, AI does use up a lot of resources and time. So if you're not on a fast computer with an with an M4 chip, which is what the latest Macs have, just remember that this will take time and a lot of computing resources. And then the cool thing is this project will show you all the files. This is like your project management library. It will show you all the different files that you've added, like media, images that are part of your project here that you can reuse in different scenes. And then lastly, if you want, you can upload that. Instead of just going to here, you can just click on upload and allow you to upload from a computer, upload from your mobile phone. And then what I really like is that Descript allows you to collaborate very easily. So anytime I'm working with a client and I'm doing a tutorial video and saying this needs to be cut out, I will add a comment and say, this needs to be cut out, and they'll see it. And then the cool thing is the export. So when I'm not yet ready to publish this video, what I'll do is just make it so it's only visible on the web. And so if I click on publish, it'll give me a link that I can directly send to a client to view on the web. This makes it easier if you're working with someone who's not very technical and does not know how to use. This is helpful if you're working with someone who's not very technical. They can view it through this link and then look at the timestamp and say that this is where it needs to be cut, or this is where I felt like the pauses were too long. And so it allows you to collaborate more easily. And then when you export, either you export on the web, you can publish it to YouTube, Vimeo, a lot of other tools. If it's an audio, you can download it as an audio file. You can choose from WAV, and you can choose from MP3 or M4A. And then if you only want the timeline, so it really depends. I'm not really using this, but if you are, because some people do a lot more editing, then you can export the timeline and put it into Adobe Premiere or other Final Cut as well. Now, if I only wanted the transcript because I'm just editing the words, then I can export the transcript and then send it directly to a client. It'll put it in Microsoft Word or plain text. I personally use the Microsoft Word because if your client isn't technical, then the Microsoft Word is much easier to view. And then subtitles is subtitles is really important. A lot of videos now require closed captioning, and in each video, it's important to have subtitles so that people who have accessibility needs can read subtitles if they have hearing needs and hearing challenges. So that is an overview of Descript as your all-in-one content creation, social media, and video editing tool. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Let me know if you have questions, feedback, and how I can continue to teach and record videos that are helpful to you. Thanks for watching.